Good morning. How you doing? Hey, it's me, your girl 10. Long time no see. The reason why I'm on here today, y'all, is y'all could see that the case that started me to want to do YouTubes has came back in the algorithm. And that's the case about Miss Kenneka-Martin. And if you're not too familiar about the case, let me tell you about it a little bit. All right. So this was a case back in 2017 about a young lady named Kenneka Jenkins, or you can call her Kenneka Jenkins-Martin. She was stayed in Chicago. She was a 19-year-old young lady that went to a party with her friends at a hotel. But in the midst of being at the party at a hotel, unfortunately, something occurred that caused her to wind up deceased in the kitchen freezer of the hotel. Her mother, which is her name is Miss Teresa Martin, never got any answers to what happened to her daughter, what occurred to cause her daughter to wind up in the freezer deceased. Never found out if it was the friends that led her there, or the party goers that led her there, or was she, because they did state that the Kenneka was drunk. So that she, if she had walked herself down there due to being inebriated, or was she led down there by hotel staff, or whatever may have happened. Nobody, her mom, as far as the people know, she doesn't know, allegedly. At the time of the Kenneka Jenkins case, this was a real big case. I mean, this is like the case that blew up YouTube in a certain sense. If you wasn't into YouTube when the Kenneka Jenkins case hit in, you was into YouTube. I mean, I spent a lot of sleepless and restless nights trying to configure what happened to this young lady, because it was just so unfortunate how that she became, deceased in this freezer, and nobody had any answers. People protested. People all over the world were sending donations, GoFundMe. We had your activists out there, Andrew Jones. I think I'm saying his wrong name. His name wrong. But they had a lot of black activists out there that was trying to help the mom, which is Teresa Martin, protest against the hotel so that they could find out the answers that happened, what happened to her daughter. Because at the time of the murder, at the time of Kenneka Jenkins' demise, okay, this is what they said that happened. The friends, they said that they was in the room. There was a lot of people, a lot of kids in the room, and they was partying. They said that one of the friends, which is Manifa, which is supposed to be allegedly Keneka's best friend, said that she walked Kenneka outside of the party because Kenneka was inebriated and they was getting ready to go. When they got out the room, she left Kenneka by the door, I'm assuming, by the door, so she could go back in there and get Kenneka keys and Kenneka phones, because Kenneka was driving her mama car. They ride. It was several friends. It was one friend party at the room was Irene. Her and somebody else was throwing them a birthday party together. But Kenneka went to the party with her friends Shamaya, Monifa, Shamaya, Manifa, and Bree, and I think it's somebody else. It's been a long time. It's been 8 years, guys. So when they allegedly, Monifa posted had left her outside the door to go back into the party to go get her things, that's when things took a turn. And so she said she came back out the room and Kenneka was gone. Okay, so from there to the freezer, really don't nobody know what happened. They just assuming, because it was on the news for a little bit, but this was more of a YouTube thing. But on the news, they did show, and they said it was a reenactment of what they thought may have happened to Kenneka, which they had another young lady play as Kenneka and act like she was inebriated walking through the hotel and wind up in the freezer. The last part we seen was them walking in the cafeteria, which the cafeteria, that part of the kitchen was supposed to be closed due to remodeling, and they was making it, that part of the hotel now is a restaurant, which, if you know, the actor Bill Murray runs. This is a whole mystery. It's like a whole rabbit hole. Like back in 2017, all you could do was hold your breath and jump in the rabbit hole because it was so deep. I mean, this hole is still, like, we're still falling through the hole. Okay. People all over the world was interested. They donated. People came out to Chicago to hear a protest against the hotel, to find out answers for the mom, to see what had happened, because the friends, they say they didn't know nothing. All they know is well, the one friend, Manifa, she said she left her outside the door. She went in to get the girl stuff. She came back, Kenneka was gone. They called the mama that night and told the mama, hey, we can't find Kenneka or whatnot. The mom was, at that time, suffered from cancer. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she had she was getting ready for breast cancer surgery, or she just had the surgery. The mom and her people came up to the hotel to see what was going on with, her daughter. And she asked the hotel, could they see the hotel footage to see if Kenneka had been there. If she had been, they see on the cameras where the hotel was giving her a hard time about these cameras. So that was the reason why the people wanted to protest and stop the business of the hotel, because it was said that it was a lot of things that happened, that said that happened to Kenneka. One, they said that she walked in the freezer drunk and closed it up and froze to death on her own. Then they said that something happened to her where she fought for her life. If you looked at her pictures, because they even have pictures of her deceased, it looked like she fought for her life. If this story is true, because it make you wonder. Another one is it's just a whole bunch of different stories out there of what could have happened to her. But nobody really knows. Well, the mom, like I said, went up there to get the footage. The hotel gave her a hard time about the footage. The people came out, protested against the hotel to get the answers for the mom. The mom told people to hold back and stand back on the protest, because the hotel, I guess they got a hold to her, and they was letting her know, like, hey, we're losing a lot of money because of this, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Also, before I move forward, there also was a mention of organ harvesting, that they had took Kenneka, the reason why she was in that freezer, because they wanted her organs, which if you go down the rabbit hole a little bit more, then you get your Selena Gomez. They stating that Selena was supposed to have got this young lady kidney because she was having complications with lupus, and Kenneka was a match for her, allegedly. But the people came out, like I said, they was helping, they was donating a lot of money, a lot of people was like losing their jobs and stuff to stand with Miss Teresa Martin. When she told people to stand back and fall back and let it go, come to find out that she had settled with the hotel. Her and her children had got over $6,000, with her getting 3.7. The sister Lenora, which is Teresa's daughter, Kenneka's sister, I think she got 1.6, and the brother, the son and the brother Kenneka, he got 1.2 million. With the when they signed for the money, allegedly, because now 8 years later, we haven't heard anything from Miss Teresa. Every now and then she'll get on the screen and say different things. She'd be like rambling, and I was just thinking maybe she was just rambling due to the mental state of what happened to her daughter. So now it's 8 years later, and Miss Teresa Martin has came back out, and now she's saying she want to get justice for her daughter after she had took this money she took, I think that was 2-3 years ago they got the money. So they so now she wants to get justice for her daughter, allegedly. She wants everybody to get back together, protest and whatnot, to find out what happened to Kenneka. She said that the police or those entities that was handling the investigation never gave her Kenneka Jenkins belongings, nothing like that, or no explanation of what happened to Kenneka, which I mean, I feel like this. If she wanted to know what really happened to her daughter at that time when she signed that paper, she should have found out then. I don't think that you can find out nothing and you just signed that paper saying that you were not going to say nothing no more. I don't even understand why she signed that paper and her baby passed away in such a brutal way. Her baby passed away, period. You know, ain't no amount of money that you can put on your baby's life. Can't nobody make you shut up. It's just that you're not willing to die behind what you believe in. Because some people can give you the money, don't mean you got to spend it. And if you spend it, you should have, regardless if you should have just went forward trying to find out, get you some private investigators to find out what really happened to your baby. But some of those protesters came resurfaced back up and stated that at the time of the protest that you told them that you knew what happened to your baby. Why they never told the people that you knew what happened to your baby and stop people from donating their hard-earned money and losing their jobs and assets to help somebody that already knew what happened to their baby. I'm not saying that Miss Teresa Martin don't care about her child or anything like that, but at the moment, what I'm gathering is the money was, you know, stopped her from wanting to know what happened. Unless she, like she said, she already knew. Maybe she coming back out here trying to get more money. People say clout chasing. Maybe it's just a distraction. Maybe the story not even real. Maybe this is a whole fabrication just to distract the people. We don't know. But she's coming back asking that, talking about she want answers. And it's very weird because she's been doing a lot of live. Like I said, her name is Teresa Morton, if you want to. She's been doing a lot of live and she's been talking about this, that she want to get back and find out what happened. But in the midst of the live, the lady sounds like she's demonically possessed. It's real creepy. Go if you want to. That's up to you. If you want to jump down that rabbit hole, be my guest. But if you want to go listen to her lives, her recent lives, I don't know if she dip and dab in witchcraft or what's going on, or her mental state is just really gone. But it's just like the lady is got some demonic spirits in her that is trying to come out. This is really eerie and scary case. And then she had a picture. And then on the picture it says she put on there, Kenneka is me, or I am Kenneka. Make you think if this story really real because of how the rabbit hole never closes. It just make you just wonder what really happened to this girl. I don't want to follow no more shadows in the hotel, considering the fact that they said that was a reenactment of what they think might have happened to Kenneka, meaning there wasn't even Kenneka in that film, that there was somebody else playing the role. When they did at that time back in 2017, they talked to some people that was in that hotel. They said that some of them people told them that they were making a movie that night. So it's unsure now if this story is really true. I seen a live with Monifa, which was allegedly supposed to be Kenneka's best friend, which is a recent one. And she's still on that same rah-rah, like what she didn't do in the Friends. This rabbit hole is really deep and it's turning very demonic. I don't want to follow no more shadows in the hallway. For you newcomers, tread lightly. Don't get emotionally involved because there's no answer. If this story is true, I pray for Miss Teresa Martin and her family, for their loss and how tragic the loss was. Nobody, should have to go through that. But at the same time, she took the money. She should have never took the money. And if they made her took the money, she should have been willing to die and go head on and invest in finding out what really happened to her daughter. You was willing to take the people money, so you should be willing to tell the people what happened. This is some weird stuff. Now she made a post And she said her door was kicked in, which the door, it looked like somebody laid it on the floor. The hinges wasn't, the door frame wasn't messed up. And she said that her son almost got killed behind Lil Durk. Right? Now, I'm gonna go back 8 years ago now. Now, one of the reasons that was said out there that Kenneka was murdered was because she was a witness to the rapper Chief Keef, that she saw him murder somebody, and she was supposed to have testified against him. And allegedly, that was a reason for her being murdered. That was one of the reasons that I had heard. Excuse me, guys. I'm mouth ashy this morning. I'm not too long waking up. Got me some coffee. But that was one of the reasons. Now they saying about Lil Durk. And they saying that because Lil Durk had mentioned Kenneka Jenkins in his game. I mean, not in his game. In his song. And what I'm saying about game, one of those Maddens, one of those PlayStation games, had a tribute for Kenneka on the game. It was just weird. But anyway, she said that due to Lil Durk, I guess, mentioning Kenneka in the song, the people came, kicked in the door. And I heard somebody on live talking about that that something whether that Kenneka people was cool with FBD Duck. And if you know FBD Duck, he is deceased. His mother be online, Mama Duck. That they was cool with him. It was some girl that Durk was dating, India, that knew Kenneka, and I guess they said that she had been telling Durk about Kenneka, and that's how Kenneka, that name wound up in his song. But they thought FBG Duck people thought that maybe they were in cahoots with Durk people, and that's why they kicked in the door. It don't even look like they kicked in the door. If you go look, it looked like somebody just laid the door on the floor, and that's it. And let her get her phone and taped them walking away. Don't even. This is very crazy, and it's very like if you're new to this, and then you're ready to be confused, depressed, sad, and up all night, jump through the hole, jump in the rabbit hole. But just know that there's no definite answer. And then it makes you wonder, like I state, was this case real? If it was real, I really, my heart goes out to the family. You know, I hate that they did lose a loved one as they did. I'm not going back down as far as looking at these shadows again. I don't know what happened. You know, we had a lot of people lose their lives over this case. We had one podcaster that used to, Zach TV, which was in Chicago, and he was supposed to be a podcaster that supposed to had interviewed all those local rap artists in Chicago, you know, the youngsters or whatnot, and he got involved in the case. And now, and I'm gonna tell you about Zach. With Zach TV, he's now deceased. A lot of people want to say that he got killed behind the Kenneka Jenkins case, but from what I understand, it was behind some gang stuff that he got murdered. It wasn't behind Kenneka, but who knows if it's true, allegedly. Excuse me. But it was weird to me with Zach. You know, they said Zach was at that party. You know, it was weird to me that the fact that he was able to interview Irene and a couple of boys that same night of the party. How did you do that if you wasn't there? Why did you do that? Was you covering up? It's weird. I don't even think Zach is dead. I think that's a cover-up too, because Zach people from Africa. He might be back over there with his people. This is just a weird case. And I lost a lot of sleep behind this case. Like I said, I have 2 daughters, and I was also a young lady with some friends, and we used to get fucked up, and we used to do stupid shit, and you know, this could happen. Somebody said, this would never happen to me. You just don't know. If you get drunk enough, a lot of shit can happen to you. That's why you got to be mindful and careful. But, you know, back then when I was a young lady, you know, it's like us friends, like if one move, we move, you know, when you move, I move, just like that. That's how it's supposed to be. You know, we couldn't come home and tell somebody, mama, oh, I don't know where your child at, or I don't know, because when you move, they move. When we live together, we come together. And I hope these young ladies come out like this, because after the Kenneka Jenkins case, there was a lot of other murders, mystery murders, may say that, well, people has been with their group of friends and mysteriously came up murdered. You know, it's like a trend follow with that. You know, I'm not understanding what's really going on. The world is changing. I'm glad I was born when I was born and grew up when I grew up. You know, it was hard then, but it's harder now. But this is a deep hole. I hope that, you know, I don't know what Teresa, the mom, what is she looking for? Is she looking for more money? Because I don't think that you can get more money. I think that once you signed that paper and took that money that you received, that was it. That was all. You should have got that money, answers then and there. Or if you said they took you to that room because in the midst of you talking in demonic tongues, you also telling on yourself. If people can understand, Teresa do a lot of double talking. I don't understand. 1 minute you talking about Jesus, and then next minute you talking about pussy popping. You was talking about waterfalls, and it was wet right here. But God, I'm so confused. I don't know if Miss Teresa did lost her mind behind this, and if she have, I could understand that. I could understand that your baby gone. I mean, even though you do have more children, sometimes your mind can't fathom that one child is enough for you to lose your whole entire sanity, you know. But this case is, as far as I am concerned, this is a closed case. This is a case that was never meant for us to know what happened. It was only a case for us to follow the shadows, in my opinion. So, but I just see her on here, and it's really disturbing, especially with her live, and it's like her voice is changing, and it sounds like she about to start talking in Aramaic and stuff in the holy language, and it's just really, really scary. I don't even know if I'm gonna continue with this, with that demonic. You know, I don't know if she throwing out curses on us, because you never know, because we don't know what she's saying. You know, you got to be careful. This is a new time and day, and people are willing to do all kind of witchcraft on you these days, and not just for good reason, for bad reasons. So, you know, this might be just another distraction. Like I said, we'll never know what happened to Kenneka. It is just a distraction. I don't even know if I'm at the point where I don't even think this story was really real. Like, I cried over this story. Like, I'm serious. I cried. You know, I got into arguments with people behind this baby. You know, we have to be careful what we give our energy to. You know, that's why the Bible say, pick your battles. You know, sometimes we'll just run with the little bit of information instead of running with it all. You know, but if it is true, I hate that Miss Teresa took that money and didn't find out what happened to her baby. But at this point, if you ain't found out 8 years later, then you didn't want to find out, in my eyes, because you took the money and you just ran. So what you want the people to do now? You know, people got other things going on. You know, when you had the people at your disposal, that's when you supposed to ran with it. One thing I will, well, one of the activists, his name is Jedediah Brown. He came back up, and he's saying a lot of things that he should have fucking said at the beginning. You know, but it's all good. That's what they do. They drag us along for the distractions to keep us from paying attention to the real shit that's going on, and have us fumbling about with this false ass shit that's going on, these side ops or whatnot. But if you want to jump through that rabbit hole, go ahead and jump through the rabbit hole. But don't let Miss Teresa make you her damn fool, okay? I understand, but God, you right, but God. God has all the answers. So, with that being said, she needs to go ask her to... I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to say that. That would be very rude. But I'm just saying, $3.7 million, and you allegedly didn't find out what happened to your child, you didn't want to. So I just think that you should just take whatever information you have and just deal with it, because maybe the new people will help you, but the old people, no. we don't want to go through this rabbit hole. This was a lot. This case was a lot. Mentally, this was a lot. But if she hasn't found out what happened to her daughter and she telling the truth, I hope that she do find out what happened to her daughter. She should have, I'm going to say it again, she should have found out in the beginning when they gave her that money. They would have had to tell me something, some type of closure, you know, some type of closure. Did you sell your daughter? Did you sell your daughter? Did you set her up? Do Selena really do have her kidney? You know what I'm saying? Did your daughter have to fight for her life because the way she was found in the freezer, allegedly, if it's a true story, it didn't seem like, you know, she went in there and sat the fuck down and went through hypothermia. It looked like something happened to her if it's true, if the story is true. It looked like something happened. Now, my heart goes out to the family, even Miss Teresa. You know, sometimes people just not as smart as you think they should be. You know, some people just jump. You know, when people ain't never had nothing and you offer them something, they'll take it. So that's what I got on here to say today. Good to see y'all. Long time no see. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of gardening, y'all. I started gardening. I think that's what we should be doing, you know, especially when the government has shut down, you know, not no meat or anything, but you can keep still eating, and with everything in the grocery stores on recall and everything, and if you ever try to just get your mind together and get your peace together, start gardening. It will really, really give you another perspective about life and help you bring peace into your mind. I really appreciate that I've done that. I'm going to have to take y'all back there and show y'all what I got going on. But I just wanted to get on here to speak about that. You know, I was really surprised to see that she came back on and she was saying what she had to say, you know, about she didn't find out what happened to her daughter or whatnot. But hopefully, you know, I'm going to say this. I hope this story is a whole lot, because I hate to hear that anybody lost their life. You know, I hope that we were just bamboozled and lied to instead of somebody actually really losing their life. But if the story is true, I pray for Miss Teresa Saturday. I hope that she gets the help that she needs. Somebody need to take her phone from her and get her off a line. And if she really want to talk to the people, she just need to tell the people the truth. You know, at this point, if you really want the people to come back out there and help you, this is the time to be transparent. Totally. But as far as me, I'm not doing it again. I'm so sorry. And like I say, if this story is true, I'm so sorry for your loss. It was so tragic. And I pray for better days for you and your family. You know, so, but that's what like I said, I got on here for. You're going to see me again. But I'm finna get off of here before my coffee get cold. As you seen, I was just coming from the store getting me some coffee. Happy belated Thanksgiving, everybody. You know, getting ready for Christmas. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but okay. But y'all have a wonderful day. You know what I always say, fuck them naysayers, because all they do is run their motherfucking mouth, you know? And I love you guys, and I will see you guys later. You'll see me sooner than later. Take care. Bye-bye. Talk to you later. Bye.